So I'm checking out 12 facts about Mary in the Quran, and I'm thinking to myself, is this maybe a reference to like the 12 apostles? Or maybe when Jesus was 12, he got lost in that city and then they found him in the temple. So yeah, maybe it was a reference to that, maybe it's not, or maybe the 12 tribe of Israel, but I don't know. But none of this stuff have really to do with Mary. Well, I heard this long ago myth that Mary was like 12 when she got married or some pedo stuff like that. I don't know.
12 facts about Mary in Islam. Mary is considered a holy woman in Islam. She is known as Maryam bint Imran.
Yes, Mary. Here's a fun fact. They'll probably state it in the video, but the Virgin Mary is the only woman mentioned in the Quran, or at least a woman named Maryam, because they equated they actually like equated two Maryams in the Quran. New Testament Miriam, which was the mother of Jesus, and Old Testament Miriam, which was the sister of uh, what you call it, Moses. There's even parts of the Quran where it states that Mary, she was the granddaughter of Moses' father, and she was the sister of Abram, or Moses' brother, stuff like that.
She is the only woman directly named in the Quran. Here are more facts from.
See, I'm glad they had the absolute cojones to actually say that, which I find that amazingly sexist. Like, you know, this God, he would write a book, and he would name hundreds of men, but only name one woman by name in his holy book. That's pretty sexist.
Islamic texts. 1. Mary is mentioned more times in the Quran than in the entire New Testament. There are 70 references to Mary in the Quran.
I mean, she better. She's literally the only woman mentioned, so hell, they might as well mention her 70 times, which I haven't read the Quran in a while. I don't know, why she mentioned so many times. I believe she has her own chapter, but I don't know how they're gonna how they would stretch out her name 70 times. But that's pretty amazing. But she's the only woman who has a name drop in the Quran. Like, this all-powerful God would release his book and only mention one woman. One woman. Like, people talk about Catholics and how they worship Mary. At least in the Catholic book, they don't have her as the literal one woman that's mentioned in their holy book.
She's the only woman who has a chapter named after her. Chapter.
Hell, she's the only woman that's named, period. So, chapter or not, I mean, the only woman named, period. So, of course, she's going to be the only woman who has a chapter named after her.
19 is called Surah Maryam. 2. Mary gave birth to Jesus as a virgin. Muslims believe Jesus, or Isa, was born by Allah's will alone.
Allah created him from dust and then said to him, "Be," and he was.
Wait, how could Jesus be born of a virgin when he was born from dust? Is the dust virgin? Like, was he born from virgin dust? That makes no sense at all. Like, literally, it has a verse where they create Jesus from dust, which is probably taken from the idea that that the first man was created from dust, Adam. They probably inflated that with the concept of Jesus being from dust, but how could he be from dust and a virgin at the same time? Like, did the Virgin Mary have like a dusty coochie or something? Like, I don't know.
On 359. Mary had him, despite being a virgin. The Bible sees Jesus as the Son of God.
And despite being human, because apparently he was made from dust, which makes no sense whatsoever.
But the Quran regards him as Jesus, a prophet of God. In Islam, Jesus is never resurrected. 3. Mary is considered...
Hell, he probably never hit water. He'd probably never touched water since he was made from dust. No wonder he was walking on water. He didn't want to die.
A prophetess. Some Muslims consider her to be one of the prophets. Allah chooses Mary above all women. The Quran emphasizes Mary.
Yes, he really chose Mary out of all women. She's literally the only woman named by name.
Mary's virtue.
And when the angel said, O Mary, indeed Allah has chosen you and purifying you, and chosen you above the women of the worlds.
Women of the worlds? How many worlds are there? Like, I thought that there was literally only one Earth. How many worlds are there that they would say women of the worlds?
Quran 3:42. 4. Mary is part of Jesus' story in the Quran. There is a...
I hope she is, since she's supposedly his mother, you know. I would assume she is. I would assume somebody had to give birth to him. Or at least, just drop the baby off and then,
Quran chapter, named after Mary. It describes Jesus' birth and childhood with Mary. It confirms that Jesus performed miracles by Allah's leave. For example...
By Allah's leave? Was that a typo? Did they say by Allah's leave? And then they have leaves in the background? So...
Jesus performed miracles by Allah's leave.
By Allah's leave. Did he literally perform a miracle with Allah's leave? Like, was it Allah Autumn or something like that shit? Huh?
For example, Jesus spoke as a baby in the cradle. 5. Mary was falsely accused of infidelity. When Mary came back after giving birth, people accused her of wrongdoing. The Quran denies this. It confirms Mary was a virgin. 6. Mary fasted.
Yeah. There was this interesting part in the Gospel of John where Jesus, when they asked Jesus, like, who's your father? And he's like, y'all don't even know my father. Like, I guess they were skeptical that Joseph was his father, or Joseph was not known. Joseph is not directly mentioned in the Gospel of John, which is interesting enough because it came out several centuries after the other Gospels, so you'd think they would do some form of research.
As part of her spiritual practices, the Quran mentions Mary fasting while pregnant with Jesus.
Damn, that sounds dangerous as fuck. I mean, even today's Muslims don't even fast when they're pregnant. Or at least the ones I met.
Fasting was part of her regular worship.
And I have vowed to you a fast, so I will not speak today to any human.
7.
Wait, you will not speak today to any human? Was it a fast on talking? Like, these quotes, maybe these quotes are out of context, but that doesn't make sense. Like, I decided not to eat, so I'm not going to talk to anybody. Which is contrary to, like, the Bible, because Jesus says when you're fasting, make sure people don't know. Like, put oil on your face, make yourself look happy, so you're not going to do it for other people's eyes.
Mary comes from a noble and pious family. Her family were descendants of prophets. Her father, Imran, was righteous and devoted to God.
Imran. That was supposedly the father of Moses or Musa in the Quran. It talks about Imran being the father of Abraham.
Her mother, Hannah, was spiritually elevated.
I don't know how they know her mother's name when the Quran doesn't even drop the name of her mother. Maybe it was a hadith or something, I don't know.
Hannah dedicated Mary to the temple from birth. Mary continued her family's legacy. 8. Mary is known by multiple titles in Islam. These include Siddiqa, Truthful One, Abida, Devoted One, Tahira, Purifying One, and Mustafia, Chosen One.
Mustafia sound like a cool ghetto name. Like Mustafia, come on here, Mustafia.
9. Mary is the only woman mentioned in the Quran.
Didn't they already mention this? Like, are they running low on facts? Like, they already mentioned that she was the only woman, mentioned by name in the Quran.
By name. Some other women are referenced indirectly, but not named. 10. Islamic texts have little on Mary's later life.
I bet. But you know what? They're following the Bible, because after she dropped the kid off, they really didn't mention much.
Bible. Mary watched Jesus' crucifixion. After he died, she grieved. Catholic doctrine says Mary's body and soul went to heaven at death. This is known as the Assumption of Mary.
No, they're confusing Jesus. Like, unless Catholics believe that Mary also descended upwards, just like Jesus. I mean, I wouldn't put it past them.
Eastern Orthodox call it the Dormition of Theotokos, but Islam doesn't describe Mary's Assumption. There's no information.
So, just Catholics think that Mary did a sequel to Jesus, like she ascended also, like physically to heaven, just like Jesus.
On her later life. 11. Mary is a model for believers. Muslim women see her as...
Alright, I forget that this is 12. Okay, no wonder they're speeding through.
Someone to look up to. 12. Mary is revered but not worshipped. Mary is considered saintly and righteous. Yet she is not worshipped in Islam. Reverence is due only to Allah.
I don't know how you could revere somebody but not really worship them if they're a religious person. Like, I guess you can hold them to high respect, but I guess it depends on what you believe as worship. This guy is wearing glasses. I need to put my glasses on.
Muslims believe she was an extraordinary woman, but they do not...
I mean, she was a hell of an extraordinary woman. She's the only woman mentioned in the Quran.
Pray to her or hold her equal to Allah.
Alright, so that was the video. Yeah, a pretty boring video. I already knew that Mary was the only woman mentioned in the Quran by name. I need to go piss. Talk to y'all later.